Welcome to Real Estate Leads Uncovered, the podcast that delves into the dynamic world of lead generation in the real estate industry. Hey, I'm your host, Lisa Carter, and I'm excited to guide you through the challenges, the strategies, and success stories that revolve around one of the most crucial aspects of real estate, generating leads.
Live from the hottest real estate market in America, Tampa Bay, Florida. This is the Real Estate Leads Podcast with the CEO and founder of the OLGA system, your host, Lisa Carter.
This episode, we will explore generating leads by mastering the art of turning leads into lasting relationships. New York associate broker Barbara Carter will drop in with her hidden gems on wisdom and share her insightful anecdotes on building a Class A team for your real estate business. Hey, Barbara, it's great to have you on the show today. When you and I met, I walked into your office and I'm like, Mrs. Carter, and you said Mrs. Carter, and we had this great exchange. And, and I didn't realize how awesome of a person you are and how connected you are to the community. And so when I started to learn a little bit more about who you were, I realized like you are a force in your community. That takes years. You have a team, but you stay true to that region. So when it's so easy to get distracted.
Yes, it is.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
So how do you stay disciplined to say, I'm going to niche down. I'm going to be in this community. I know this community, and I'm going to excel, and I'm going to thrive right here.
I was born and raised in Ulster County in Highland. I've lived here all my life, so I have that connection.
Right.
I've always gone to church here. I have, the same banks, the same store, so we all know each other.
Right.
And that's where most of my business comes from, is people that I've known for many years.
So that's really playing the long game. And I feel like there's a new, and kudos to that trainer that said to you, stick with what you know, play to your strengths, which is that you know this community, you know these people, and they'll be most likely the people that you bring in as a lead and convert. And it's so hard when you're, particularly in this chaotic environment, to stay disciplined.
Yes.
How are you, have you had to pivot over the years and say, it's my 5-mile farming area is just not cutting it and I need to expand, or does that organically come to you because you've been so disciplined?
It does come organically to me, but I did, when I first started, I took that 5-mile radius very seriously. And then as time went on, I did take work out of my comfort zone, and I saw it wasn't the best thing for me or for my clients. I know this area, so if somebody has a question, if I don't have it, I can get it really quickly from somebody who has more knowledge than I do. I know the connections. I know how to do that. And once you go beyond your comfort zone, you can see that you're wavering. You don't have the self-confidence in the area with the knowledge.
So, and so you start to say, well, this isn't really playing to my strength. Yeah, playing my strength.
Right. Yeah,
so you took that, you were disciplined enough to really follow those. It worked for you, by the way, because that's where you felt comfortable. Then you jump out of your comfort zone and become a broker?
Well, that was sort of, I knew that they were changing the requirements to get your broker's license. And I knew I never wanted to be a full-fledged broker, but I thought having my associate broker's license would be advantageous. So it was. Wonderful. I was actually the last class before they increased the hours.
You got right in there.
And I went to Goshen because I went to Hudson Gateway. They were just offering it like 2 weeks before this change. And so it was good. It was a difficult course. And but I was glad I did it. It doesn't affect the knowledge you have. It just is an added bonus for somebody to see that you have your associate broker's license. A lot of people misunderstand that and think I am the broker. I'm not the broker. I still have a broker over me. I'm still a teammate on Century 21 Alliance.
Yeah, and you have a broker who I know personally, and that's very and encourages that, and so that's also part of surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, who lift you up, and I'm sure that was another being really happy that people are thriving in the organization is definitely a team you want to join, and you do that. Sure. You do that for your team. I've been around you with your team. It's awesome.
Yeah, I have the best team, and it took me a while, but I was really busy, and I wanted to cut back a little myself, personally cut back. And what I decided was, let me see if I can work with, because at the time, I guess it's been about 5 years, teams were becoming more popular, and you were hearing more about teams. And to me, it made sense, because I don't know everything, so I had to find a way to put a team together that would be mutually beneficial for everyone on the team. So what we have is I focus on listings. We have Angela, Paul, and Andrew Centrone. They're buyer's agents. If somebody calls, we direct them to Andrew and Angela. We have Dominic Martirana, who's specialist in land. He was on the planning boards of Ulster County and the town of Lloyd, so he knows everything there is to know about land.
Wow.
And then we have Dave Stockrocky, who's a commercial specialist, and Rich Miller, who has a home inspector's license. He builds modular homes, and so he has a lot of knowledge about building and construction. And so this pool, these are all like-minded people with the same, we share all the same goals and values, but we're all available 24/7 to each other. So when a question comes up on a land or what the uses are, it takes a call to Dominic, and you have the answer, and you have an expert answer immediately for your client.
Wow.
So that's, it's awesome. I am so blessed to be working with
and that couldn't have happened overnight. It's not easy to get a group of people all on the same page, the same work ethic, and then each person bringing something different to the team. And so, those are three. First, finding people that have the same work ethic and mindset. Yeah. Two, finding people that have different skills that they can bring, expertise that they can bring to the team. Those are not easy, and been willing to wait until you can gather those people and not just kind of saying, well, I'll just do for now.
Wow. Yes, it was, and it fell into place. I mean, there was it took a while to get the right team to put this group together, but now it functions so smoothly, and everybody has so much confidence in each other that it's amazing to sit in the office and hear Angela come in, and she has a question, and she throws it off Dominic, and he gives her the answer, shows her how to search out, say it's a flood zone or something.
Right.
He'll sit with her and show her, this is what you do. And we know that we're going back to our clients with good, solid professional information. So, I am blessed. Yeah. It's an amazing group.
There's an old African proverb that basically says, we go farther together. And so have you seen the growth happen with everybody staying in their lane and then, obviously cross-functionally helping each other, but you've put together a bunch of experts and versus, the time, energy, and then, at the end, the rewards of growing the business. The reward.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, and the thing that is great for my team, we all we care. We care. So I mean, we're always like picking a charity. Let's donate to this. So it's not about us. It's about a bigger picture. That everyone here sees that there's a bigger picture. This goes way beyond us, and to me, that's so awesome.
That is. Now, was this team together before? So New York was one of the places that I first experienced the hardship, or the challenge that it comes with being a real estate professional. I met a bunch of your team members in March of 2020. You all were on a call that your broker had put together with myself, just introducing organic lead generation and what that means, and marketing yourself and getting yourself online. Everybody was excited, and by 3:00, the state was shut down due to COVID.
Right.
And you today, your business is on fire. How did you make that comeback? Because one thing I say to newbies, new agents, is COVID put everybody back on the starting line. Experienced agents were thriving. New agents were coming in, and all of a sudden, everybody is on the starting line. How did you jump back to the starting line and then get back in place where you were over that 2-year period?
I think having that team, we had weekly Zoom calls where we kept each other up. And it wouldn't always have to be about real estate. It would be, how you doing? Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? And so we kept each other up through the whole thing. And, it was different. It was crazy. We were selling houses unsight unseen and over asking because we're fueled by New York City. And at that time, a lot of New York City buyers were able to work remotely, so they were looking to get out of the city.
Barbara, tell me about the first phone call you guys. You guys were shut down like March 15th, 16th. At 12 o'clock, I was talking to you guys. I was like, "Hey, this is great. Let's all I would love to come down." And literally, I get a phone call at 3:00 saying, "Lisa, we're all shut down. We can't sell.
We could do nothing.
Open. You probably had open houses scheduled that afternoon."
I had a showing on one of my listings, and the agent called. He said, "These people want this house." I had just listed it, and so what are we going to do? And we weren't even supposed to be letting people into other people's houses. At first, we had no idea what this was, how to handle it. This was new. So I called the owner. I said, "What do we do?" She said, "Well, I'm happy to go for a walk." She said, "If he'll come in and wear a mask and put on whatever." So he walked through the house with his client on FaceTime, and then he called me and had a bunch of questions. And this person actually never saw the house until the day of closing when they did the final walkthrough. They actually got to go into the house and see it. So that was
now today. That's like, okay. So you had an out-of-state buyer, but back then, going back 3 years, that was unheard of. Somebody buying a house without being physically in the location.
It was a crazy
and
time.
And little did you know that was like the beginning of this swell of New York City finding that Dutchess County, Ulster County was like, okay, this is where
we're still experiencing that because the
immigration
have inflated. Yeah, the prices have inflated, so we're not getting listings. People aren't listing their homes because they have no place to go. So we still have loads of buyers
inventory issues
that want but inventory issues, and it's a lot of counseling, going to talk to someone about selling their home, and the first question is, where are you going to go? And so there's a lot of balancing. Having the team is again great because okay, this is where they want to go. This is what they want. Does the team know of anything? Do the buyer's agents know of anything that would suit this person?
Wow.
So it all becomes back to the teamwork.
You got a process. But you got a team system going on. I love this.
Yeah, we do.
And so the other day they just announced last week that the average apartment in Manhattan is $55.88. I remember those numbers. It's $5,588 a month as the average. Right. So now, like you said, this hasn't stopped. This in-migration or out-migration of New York City into you guys. So Dutchess County, you're about an hour?
Dutchess and Ulster. Yeah, we're about 90 minutes. give or take, yeah. And we have the train stations, so we have Metro North and Amtrak that come right to into Dutchess County, and it's right across the river from Ulster County. So we have bus stations. So, I've talked to many people that work remotely part-time and take the bus down 3 days or, take the train down every morning. And it becomes the new norm.
It's the new
people.
norm. I was in New York City in March. I came in on a Friday, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be like no traffic. And what I was told when I got there by some friends is, everyone comes, they basically work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday and Friday are typically a hybrid day. But it's starting to be the norm. Years ago, I worked for Staples Corporation. I had done for Staples, because they were an office supply store, what was the year 2030 going to look like in the workplace? So it was always going to be 75% remote workers. So I don't care what the media says, this was always going to be. It just, COVID pushed it up 10 years.
Pushed it, COVID accelerated this move to remote work. And then once employers start to realize that the cost savings of coffee and water and extra office space, we know that this is not going to go away. For you, for a 90-minute commute, when you don't have to be in the city, but 2 or 3 days a week, now that's no longer a challenge. That's actually a nice getaway. I get to the city for 1 or 2 days a week. And so your in-migration is still happening, which is great. So sellers, right? Inventory. So one of the things that we talk about, and I love your feedback on this, there are still motivated sellers because of milestone lifestone events. So unfortunately, people are still dying. There's still death. Taxes we can't get rid of. And another thing that's still not declining, I don't know about New York State, but divorce. So are you finding any leverage in those three areas, probate, folks just aging out or heirs, also utilities and taxes and the cost of living to maintain some of the houses that people bought during the pandemic? That's right.
So what are you seeing in your market in terms of where the motivation is coming from?
Yeah, we see all of it. We see all of what you just mentioned. The taxes are an issue, so that becomes a problem. But the majority is estates. We have a lot of estates that are selling homes, and what a lot of people don't realize is that this has to be probated. Many times has to be probated before a home can be listed.
50% of Americans, Barbara, 50% of Americans die without a living will. Yeah.
So believe me, I see it all the time. And, so then the family is taking care of the cost of the taxes, maintaining the home. And so we get those listings. We try to work with the families and know that, get to the attorney, get this filed in the surrogate court as soon as possible.
That's right.
And
so the system. You know the system. You know the court system. You know the laws.
I've been through it.
Yeah,
I've been through it.
Right. And it's going to touch it with 50% of the country. It will touch all of our. Someone in our family. We know. So having that team, and so I know that in a lot of the southern states, we get agents who say, "I got a call from the cousin in Ohio or the granddaughter that's living in Portland, Oregon," and so. They're searching online to find an agent who has.
I have many of those situations where I work with families that I've never met. I have to be their feet on the ground here because they're living in California and their grandmother passed away here, or something similar to that. So we have to be aware of this. And explain what this looks like in New York State. What does this look like that you inherited this home and now you have to sell it?
Right.
So there's a lot of counseling that you do, and we don't give legal advice. We just tell them the process to take to get the legal advice, and so
that's wonderful. You also mentioned land, and I saw a great quote the other day. Buy land; they're not making it anymore.
Right.
So with the land, a lot of people don't have experience with land, so that's definitely a competitive edge your team has.
Right.
And you're starting to see those families that generationally always held on to that land. I live in rural New Hampshire, and so I see it all the time. They've held on to it for several generations, and this next generation doesn't want any part of it.
No, does not want it. Yeah.
So you have an expert in your team that's understanding what people want to know about the land, right? They want to know about
right. And land is challenging because there's so many factors. Is there wetland?
Right.
Is this buildable? Will this get a Board of Health approval to put in a sewer and a septic? Because most of our area requires septic tanks and wells.
Right.
Most areas do not have sewer and
water.
Municipal water, right. So, there's so many. And then does it meet the setbacks that you have? So having Dominic, he's amazing. He can go out and pretty much look at a property and tell you, okay, these look like the challenges that you should look into. So, and
it's tough.
From there, we have a list of excavators, that we recommend, and engineers, so that
I was going to say you have an external team too. When it comes to probate, right? You're pulling in those external experts, and with the land, you have to. And so and letting buyers and sellers know that you have an external team that you can help, like even with probate, right? So while that house is in probate, who's mowing the lawn? Who's taking care of the
Exactly. Yeah. So that's quite often if the person is living out of state, it comes to the agent, to hook up the owner with the proper contractors that's going to be there to mow the lawn every week, to plow the snow. So if we have a showing, nobody's falling on ice.
That's right.
There's so many things that need to be addressed that you have to have this all, ready so that you can advise your client.
Well, you guys have one of the hardest working teams in America, because you guys are working overtime. The takeaway that I'm hearing about putting together a team, and there's so many people that are struggling. You see the recruiting videos all the time, the recruiting ads. Yeah. It's not easy, and this business was fairly. A lot of agents came in, so there was a lot of there's a lot of folks that came in during the pandemic, said this is an easy thing. Houses are selling, houses selling in hours. This is a career for me, and keeping those people, they haven't been through the different markets that you've been through.
Right. Absolutely.
So how are you keeping them motivated? How are you look, this is just a blip in time. Things will get better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I when I started, I got my license in 2007, and I had the best broker. I talked to him all the time. We were in a small office, and we had our desks facing each other. And it was the market was crashing. It was 2008 by the time I got going.
Everybody, I just want to say this again. You got licensed in 2007 in one of the worst housing crises in history.
I've seen it all.
So this is nothing. You're like, let me let me have a smoothie and wait this one out.
Right. Well, that's what I used to say to my broker, because at that time, the internet was just starting. People were starting to use the internet for marketing, and I saw, this is where it's at. This is, I wasn't really to technology.
But you knew this is where it was headed.
Yeah. So I was doing postcards, but I was also investigating how do you get yourself online. I started doing a blog. And I wrote a blog on Active Rain for many years, and and my broker was there, and I used to say, I feel like a hamster on a wheel. I'm running. I'm so tired, and I'm getting nowhere. He said, just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Don't give up. He said, if you give up, you lose it all. Right. He said, you're on the right track, and he just always motivated me to just keep going, Barbara, just keep
I'm glad you keep going.
I often at the end of the year reach out to him and say, this is because of you, because I would have given up.
That's awesome. I mean, what business can you open? I don't care if you're even a pizza place. What business can you open and 2 days later people are buying from you? So you think about for all these agents that come into this, it's been 6 months and I haven't sold anything. What business do you start where you, unless you're putting a bunch of money in marketing, it's really hard to you can't just put a shingle out and they will come. That was in Field of Dreams. Right. It's not happening here and in this market. So I think you've given some great insight as to, you started in the worst market, you held in there, you kept going. When I mention your name to anybody in your market, they're like, oh my gosh, she's a rock star. So you're right. Blood, sweat, and tears is how she got here. It's not easy. And the thing is that you made your business and now you brought in a team to share that. And I talk to you quite often, and you're always concerned to make sure that they're making a living, that they're getting listings. And so, that all wraps up into building a good, sound business. You can't just hold things for yourself as an associate broker or broker. You want to make sure that the people on your team excel, because as that African proverb, we go farther together. And
yes, we do.
And thank you. You've given us referrals. I love working with you, and I'm so glad to have you on the show because this is the stuff that people need to hear. You didn't open. You came in at the worst market. You could have stopped 6 months later and said, "Okay."
Absolutely, this is it. I'm done.
Right, but if you look her up, you have your award-winning agent, and it was about consistency, and also the other thing that I loved about what you said today is you play to your strengths, even when business may have been a little down in your area. You're like, no, this is the long game. This is a marathon. This is no sprint, people.
Right. That's right. Exactly. That's 100% right.
Barbara Carter, Ulster County and Dutchess County award-winning agent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Lisa. You're a pleasure always.
Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you.
You too. Okay. Bye-bye.